Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and welcome to your readings for the full moon in Capricorn, 24th of July. Obviously these readings are meant to cover the 2 weeks, the 4 weeks, or the 6 and a bit months, or just under 6 months, isn't it? From the full moon in Capricorn back to the new moon in Capricorn, which will be sometime around Christmas. I should have looked that date up before I started. So, as ever, it's a general reading. General reading rules apply. Do not give away your power to a tarot reader. In these readings, there's 2 rows of cards. The top row represents the archons trying to suppress you, and the bottom row represents the gods themselves trying to lift you up, reconnect you with the divine. By their very nature, they are dramatic. So take it all with a pinch of salt and just bear in mind that I can't necessarily be reading for everybody. So there is a timestamp in the description below because I'm going to discuss the full moon itself first. But I've put the timestamp there, so if you want to not ignore my waffle, you can jump ahead to the reading. I won't be offended much. But I would say watch your sun, your moon, and your rising. Now, I'd say the moon because that would normally deal with the emotional stuff, but it's a full moon. It's a lunar reading. Go and look at your moon, especially with this one because there's a little something I want to bring up about not just the full moon, but what happens the day before, the day as I am filming this now. Now, as ever, there is a link down there in the description for the Facebook group for this Facebook page for this channel. Basically, it's got an inbox. So if you want to contact me for a personal reading, that's one of the best ways to do it. There's a link tree down there that will take you to all of my different social media, but Facebook's the best way. I am trying to grow the channel, so any subscriptions or pressing of like buttons would be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you haven't caught it, I will be, by the time this goes live, I will have already done a show with astrologer David Fisher, where we're discussing the ins and outs of the full moon in terms of Hellenistic astrology. But I've got some other things that I wanted to point out. Now, I am really, really excited about this full moon. I'm sure there was something else housekeeping I had to say. Now it'll come to me. Oh yeah, you can ask a question before you're reading if you want. I don't think it's the sort of reading where you're necessarily going to get an answer, not like my monthlies or some of my other readings. It's just a general look at the forces that are around for you to take advantage of or dodge, whichever way you want to look at it. Right, so this is the first full moon after the eclipse seasons. Now, if I bring my notes up so I can remember what I'm talking about, this is the degree here is ruled by, I always struggle with these, Yael, who is all about letting go and mental force. But the degree angels, which I've not mentioned on these videos before, the degree angels also control a 5-degree arc each. So this 5-degree arc is ruled by Mabahia, who is about putting thought into action, who is about intellectual lucidity. And Yael is about, as I said, letting go, mental force. That puts a lot more context into this full moon, whereas we have been working so very hard to plan and to decide and to find ways to move forward. We've discussed this on the astrology shows with David. We've discussed this in the readings. That's setting your plans up, getting all your ducks in a row, all of that preparation work. Now it's time to do it. When you know there is that thing that you want to let go of, now is the time to let go of it. I know you'd normally say that new moons are good for letting go and full moons are about completion. And that's what I'm talking about, the completion of the letting go process that we have already started into motion. Now, as well as the 5-degree arc, The decans themselves are ruled by the Goetic spirits, the known as the 72 demons that Solomon summoned. Although I would question whether the term demon for them is actually fair. I think it's a bit harsh, but it's what they've been known as for at least 500 years, if not more. So by day, this is ruled by the Goetic spirit Berith. So, quoting from Michael Ford, in an initiatory context, Berith may be a tool in the understanding of self, including the alchemical process of turning of gold, i.e., coming into being more, strengthening your form, the fiery essence of self. Berith is proves to be a powerful Goetic servitor that you can summon to guard while going through some introspective rites. Now, we've been going through these introspective processes for, well, quite some time, let's be honest. And so again, it's rubber stamping that idea of, you knew you needed to let go of this thing, time to let go, time to put your plans into action, time to be you to the best of your ability. Now, by night, it is ruled by Flauros, or as I would know him, Horus. Now, he's one of the traditional 9 demonic divinities in traditional demonolatry, and he's described as typifying the perfect balance of physical, mental, and spiritual consciousness. So there's that, again, that coming into yourself and finding the whole, being true to yourself aspect, the whole this is who I know I am, and that bit there, I don't need it anymore, it's not me anymore, let's go, because I'm going along on this new path. Now, I am excited about this full moon also because of something that happened the day before. The day before, there was a near perfect 4 points of a pentagram in the sky. So let me just bring that up for you to see. Hopefully you'll be able to see the aspect lines, because they're quite faint. Solar Fire does them in a colour I find it really hard to see. But you notice the moon, Jupiter, Uranus, and Venus, which is a beautiful selection of planets. You've got the love and value of Venus, you've got the making things bigger of Jupiter, you have that emotional, in this term, it's what do I feel strongly about, and how can I make those things that I feel are beautiful in my life bigger? How can I make those things that I value in my life bigger? And then there's Uranus, which Uranus always causes upset, but on this particular point, I think if the unexpected occurs, it could only be bringing good news. Now, by the time we come to the full moon itself, you notice that near pentagram is split up into 2 sets of 3 3-pointed pentagrams. However, the solar fire doesn't do aspects, or at least I can't make it do aspects, to Black Moon Lilith. So we have Mars, Moon, and Black Moon Lilith taking action to heal hurt feelings, is how I'm reading that, and how I would want to read that. Bear in mind that Mars at the moment is being ruled by the Goetic spirit Beleth, who is, there's a certain sense of Beleth plays with time. There's a certain sense of immediacy here, but it's almost like you can take this energy and pocket it for a short while. And then the final three-pointed pentagram is, again, Venus, Uranus, Jupiter. So something unexpected about that which you value and can be made bigger, which I think is still beautiful, but especially coming off of that pentagram the day before. Now, I'm also very excited about this because the final point of that pentagram would be pretty much 4, 5, 6 degrees Libra. Guess whose moon is at 6 degrees Libra? So I am looking to take full advantage of such a beautiful astrological combination. Now let's just have a look before I go into the cards, because I got told off on comments about a long introduction to another reading that I did. So I don't want to waffle for too long, but the symbols of 3 degrees Capricorn and this full moon are also very interesting. I remember what really grabbed my attention is the Kosminski degree symbol, which is of Persephone rising gracefully from beneath to the upper world. The sun is shining and the surrounding country is rich in fields of corn, fruit, birds, flowers, whilst butterflies are sporting round her head. Now, I suppose according to the legend, that would not be directly true, because spring doesn't start until Persephone comes up and Ceres or Demeter goes, "Hi, you're back," and starts letting things happen. But it is still a beautiful image. So this is said to denote one of great power of endurance, who forces himself, ill or well, to brush away obstacles in the way of his desires. What was I saying about letting things go? There is here a combination of mental, moral, and physical force, bringing us back to the idea of that rulership of Ares. A trinity which carries the native through danger and conditions most adverse. At birth, the soul is rising from the shadows, and as life advances, the temples of enchanting lights are reached, and constancy begets deathlessness. It is a symbol of perseverance. So, if you haven't started your 2021 plans, your post-2020, post-eclipse, post-great conjunction plans, get moving. Now is the start. So let's have a look at the Sapharial degree symbol, which is of a Vestal lamp burning brightly, an indication of an elevated and superior mind given to the study of things that are essentially spiritual. There's that other part of Ares dominion here. There are aspiration and intuition in a superior degree. That's not easy to say. And such a one will probably seek and find in the silence of his own chamber the key to many of the higher mysteries of life and thought. So again, it's that looking internally, expressing externally. As within, so without. This is, do not let this full moon energies go to waste. Now, the Chandra symbol, or the inside degree symbol, is more curious, but I really like it, because you will hear all the New Agers, and I get very bored with the New Agers, and with the New Age, sorry. That's not the New Agers, the New Age, because it's, oh, we're living in such a special time. We are always living in such a special time. If you are living, it is a special time. Certainly for you and to a point globally, but we cannot deny there's big global things going on. So we have all been training for this moment. So Capricorn 4, the 4th degree of Capricorn, i.e. 3 degrees Capricorn. The Chandra symbol is footprints in the snow. And it's talking about how you are following your own footsteps. In the last previous lifetime, you set into motion a very full karmic momentum. which only got to midstream. This time, you first recapitulate the previous patterns and then set out where they lead. All of it, every step feels fated, inevitable. It is an uncannily strong inward impression. Yet, in order to permit the soul of this lifetime some measure of autonomy and freedom, this knowledge is held in the superconscious mind, and you can then cast about as though nothing had happened before, if you want, except that the inward instincts direct you in a predetermined course. And the lessons and the scenes are so very familiar. So blah, 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 when the individual karma is this strong. But we know this. I mean, let's be honest. If you're watching one of my readings and watching tarot readings on YouTube and all the other stuff, we know that we have practiced for this. And even if you accept like Dolores Cannon's 3 Waves of Volunteers, we have been practicing for this. And the no, this is the Omega symbol, I think. As a cliff erodes, a temple is in danger of collapsing. Now, okay, there's a tower imagery, tower card imagery there, but there's also it also talks about that Saturn-Uranus square we've got going on. The description to this says it needs change. And when they do, structures that may have depended on a long time, that may have been depended on for a long time, need to change as well to meet these new needs. That's it, needs change. Right, that makes sense. This is what this degree is aware of. It taps into the undercurrents of feeling and can see how those things are eroding the landscape of human thought. At its best, it's capable of suggesting means of change that take into the account the long range and which are practical. And again, we have practiced for this. Can you tell I'm really excited about this? I never thought I'd be excited about a Capricorn thing, but when you look, everything that Capricorn threw at us last year, the Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions, the building up to the great conjunction with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, various other things, eclipses last year and all that. This is beautiful. This is Pluto, who's there in Capricorn, going, okay, here is the end of it. Now, bear in mind, this full moon is a long, long away from Pluto. Pluto's at 26 degrees. The full moon's at 3 degrees. So it's co-present by sign. But Pluto's allowed everything to come full circle. And it's almost like he stepped to one side and said, there you go. I've done my work now. You crack on with starting the new things. And I will just check your work as you go past. But everything will be fine. Don't worry. You crack on with it. And so that's what I want to say with this full moon. Whatever it is, you crack on with it. There's all this creative energy around with Venus quintile Uranus, Venus quintile Jupiter. There's all this healing energy around with the quintiles between the moon, Mars and Lilith. There's that, especially if you've got early degrees of Libra planets, there's that energy from the pentagram the day before. This cannot be a bad thing if you take advantage of it, but you take advantage of it with self-knowledge. You take advantage of it after having really dug down on the inside and saying, is this what I want? Is this a bit of me I still want to be? What do I need to let go of? And let's already make sure that this full moon is the final letting go of those things. They will come back again. Of course they will. They will come back again for you to be able to walk straight past them and say, no, I've let go, I don't care. Because that's how it works. You know, they so when all these things that you've let go of pop their head up again in like 1, 2, 3 months, years time, it is there to say, huh, have you let go? Really? And if you use this full moon energy right, the answer is a resounding yes. Yes, I have. Now, this is before I've done the show with David, so that's how I'm reading the full moon, purely on the basis of the angels and the demons that are involved here, and some of the aspects, but minor aspects. We'll see what David makes of it. In the meantime, I'll bring your cards up in a second. If you want a personal reading, don't forget that Facebook link. Please feel free to share the video because it helps, and press the like button because it helps YouTube notice I exist, which I'm not sure it has yet, really. In the meantime, yeah, let me bring up the cards. Okay, Pisces, as I said in the introduction, this top row here represents the archons trying to suppress you and keep your vibration down, let's put it succinctly. And this bottom row, highly populated bottom row, there's a lot of gods on your side this month, represents the gods trying to lift you up and reconnect you with the divine. So let's look at the archons to start off with. The masks they are wearing are Prometheus with altruism, Odysseus with the journey, Lilith with equality, the Graces with festivities, and Caliac with the endurance. Now, I'm going to look up Caliac because my brain has just drawn a complete and total blank. But there's, I just want to check she's the person that I think she is. Oh, no, she isn't. Right. So, what this archontic story that's been presented to you is that there's something that you are being called to do for somebody else. It's going to be a challenge for you, but it's only fair because everybody's supposed to be equal here. And it's also healing some form of, or it appears to be healing some form of rage. Some form of I have not had enough of. I don't think that's yours. I think that's somebody else's, and you're like, oh well, let's make sure you do get enough then. And there's a party trap here with the Graces, but it looks like it's a problem that you can solve really, really easily, but you're coming up against something. It's an old problem, this one. And you may find that it's not one way you're going to be able to make quite the progress as what you believe you are. Now, Caliac is archetypal survivor of Gaelic origin, one of the first revered goddesses on record. The veiled one resided high on cliff tops and was associated with wet and windy weather. She endured all things, outliving those around her, epitomizing the circle of life through the seasons, for without her enforced dormancy on the earth, there could be energy left for spring and summer to follow. So, whatever this is, you're trying to tackle something old. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't be tackled, but I am getting the impression that this is really interesting because Aries here as one of the gods supporting you says, yes, do take action. But I'm feeling that Aries is hinting that you should take action at something else because he is immediately not clarified, but paired with Anubis for protection. So there's this sense of whatever you get involved in here, is this really the right time when you are in the I get it. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. Whatever this trying to help somebody or trying to combat some age-old injustice is right now, it's a distraction for you. Now, I am not saying that you shouldn't, this injustice should not be combated, but what I am saying is that right now is not the time for you to be doing it, because you need to be looking more into your own rebirth, into becoming someone new. Kaliak is the same old, same old, same old. But here we have Hemera, the goddess of the day, the goddess who renews herself every day under the auspices of Eos, goddess of the dawn. We have Themis, the natural order, which with Anubis here, with Gaia, and Animetia or Animetia with integrity, is telling me that it is time for you to. Well, the image I'm getting is like, the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis. But first, you've got to get in that chrysalis. You've got to weave that chrysalis. Now, I think that you have been doing that. But since Anubis came out, I drew, it turned out to be 3 cards from the Anubis Oracle. So we have the Crested Ibis with the sacred archetypal element of air, and Khonshu, god of the moon. Now, Khonshu is, here he represents divine timing and blood mysteries. So there's that whole, with the divine timing and with these other images, there's this whole sense of, it's time to metamorphosize. It's time for change. And as worthy as this fight that the Archons are presenting to you probably is, it's not one where you're going to make a huge impact, and you really need to concentrate more on yourself for the moment, because the moon represents the people. And you, by staying true to yourself and staying true to your heart, as in what is right for you and your development, not what's right for the world, not that bit of the heart. We're looking internally here, because it's your heart that gets weighed when Anubis takes you to those scales. So it is to the betterment of the world that you go through this metamorphosis now. This is what the presence of Khonshu is telling me. And then stuck to the bottom of the Ibis card was the pyramid, i.e. this is a powerful time. But this represents the sacred archetypal element of earth. So you are bringing some ideas, air, down into the earth. You are grounding them through your metamorphosis. It is Gaia, creation. It is time to create a new you. Themis is reinforcing that, and it's what's being true to yourself here with Animetia. Now we also have Uranus with remoteness. It's not just the remoteness. You can look at whatever is going on this top story dispassionately. Actually question if you getting involved will have any effect whatsoever, because it may well be. I mean, when this sounds awful, but when I turned over the Lilith card since it's on the Archontic roll, and it says here equality, but my own thought was stuff equality. Uniqueness is what we need to focus on. And that was before I even turned over the Gaia card. So it was like, because I don't like the idea of stuff equality at all. That, politically, I'm all for equality. But right now, no, it's not about all things being equal. It's about all things being what they are and being what they are to the best of their ability. Celebrating the differences, the strengths, the skills, the new growth that Gaia is intimating here. And Ten of Pentacles, it will be an easier life just to go along with this fight and get involved with this fight. but I don't think you're actually going to get anywhere. It becomes clear that it's idle fun. I mean, it's so entrenched, Kaliak, with her age, and Ace of Pentacles here. It's a grounded thing. So it's more Four of Swords for Aries, Anubis. Take action for your metamorphosis. Take action to listen to the fact that there is a voice inside you saying it's time now. The High Priestess. Right, let's see what we've got coming up with Gaia. Because I love this reading. As you know, I'm Pisces Sun. So yeah, it's time to shed the old skin and be a whole new person. Ten of Swords, you're putting something to rest. And you're also, now, I'm led to, I mean, butterfly motif again. But that's not unusual for the aces in this deck, to be quite fair. But I'm also led to think of the Ten of Swords in, oh, now, what is it? I think it's Tarot Apocalypsis. I think it's that one, where you see the spirit liberated out of the person that's got the 10 swords stuck out of them. So there's that sense of transformation, like the Judgment card out of that particular. And the other thing is, when I turned this card over, God, I'm such a geek. When I turned this card over, which I didn't with that one, I got the Mothra theme tune in my head. Which I could do a rendition for you, but I can't really sing. I like to think I can, but I can't. But there's that sense of guardianship, especially with it having the colours of a bee, the black and yellow there. There's that sense of guardianship here. So that it's literally you are Doctor Who, and you've got to go into the zero room to go and finish your regeneration. You've already started the process. Now you've got to finish it. Queen of Cups here. That being able to stand back. So this fight might be a fight that you can come back to later, once you've undergone all of this. Right now, it's a distraction. In the future, it might be your life's mission. But right now, you need to prepare. You need to attend Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, and get your training. You need to be able to have the remoteness of Uranus to stand back and study it, and your inner fire will be awakened by whatever injustice or whatever pain or wound that you are seeing and that you want to do something about. But by having that distance and by going through that transformation, you are more equipped to be able to deal with it, and that is remaining true to yourself. And Animecia here, representing integrity, being clarified by the Four of Wands, being married to your integrity, making a commitment to yourself to be the best you that you can be, so you can then later go and tuck into this fight if you feel that that's the one fight that you need to get into. So I'm not saying don't get involved in that fight forever, just don't get involved in that fight right now. And interestingly, Mebahel, truth and justice, very very Superman image there, quite appropriate. But that truth and justice, I want to notice that truth comes before justice, and so you need that distance to see that truth. You need that distance to feel that inner fire that is your truth, if that makes sense. Right, that's a lot, Pisces. That is a lot. But I love some of these. Aries, Anubis, Hemera, Themis, Gaia, Uranus, Hestia. You've got whole generations of gods here that are on your side, that are working with you if you will work with them. So use that inner fire, take that action to have that metamorphosis of yourself. That's the important thing right now. Don't get distracted by whatever cause or whatever drama or whatever pain you are seeing of another's out there, because you go through this process, and then if you are supposed to deal with this top story later, you'll be so much more better equipped. Right, that's everything that I see. I best shut up now before I'm landing myself for God knows what else in life. So, do all that good YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe. Go watch your moon and your rising to maybe give this a little bit of context, because there is a lot going on in these full moon readings this month, a lot. And I would say it is so worth looking at your moon and rising and looking at all of them. There's a timestamp down below. You can fast forward through my initial waffle. I only did it the once. If you've listened to it already, thank you very much. And comment, let me know. And yeah, Pisces, comment if this means anything to you. And don't forget, there's also a link down there for the show that I am about to go and film now with astrologer David Fisher. So, happy full moon. And I'm assuming this is a reading, Pisces. It's probably lasting all the way to the new moon in Capricorn, because otherwise it's going to be a very busy couple of weeks. Cheers.